All right, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of our Indian Creek Alumni series. Today we have 2017 graduate Trevor Guerra with us. Trevor, how you doing today?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Good. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Looking forward to asking you some different questions. And I think where I'd like to start is about your school experience in general, especially when you were younger. You don't have necessarily the same experience that a lot of small school students do. A lot of small school students, they start in kindergarten with their same class. They get to know them all the way through high school, but yours was quite a bit different. Why do you explain what your schooling was like, especially when you were younger?
Yeah, definitely. So starting off, I was homeschooled, like most people. I did go to public preschool, where I made a few friends and whatnot. But other than that, I was homeschooled. The rest of my siblings were homeschooled for their entire educational career, all throughout high school. But then when I was going into fifth grade, my grandma was diagnosed with dementia, so my mom was going to be helping her transition into a nursing home and whatnot. Due to that, she wasn't going to have enough time to really work with me on school stuff. So my parents decided that it was the best idea for me to go to public school for that year. And I went, tried it out, which I was really skeptical about at first. Initially I wasn't excited about it at all. But after going, I made some friends, kind of got settled in a little bit, and realized that, I liked being around other people a lot. So after that, I decided to stay in public school for the rest of my middle school and high school and whatnot.
And had you already been playing sports while you were being homeschooled, or did sports start after you started going into public school?
Yeah, so I played AYSO soccer, which is like rec league soccer. I played t-ball, like just rec league t-ball and whatnot. And then basketball, first time I played on an organized basketball team was the year before I went to public school. There's an organization called Crossroads, which is located in Big Rock,
Hmm.
which is like 25, 30 minutes from where I grew up. And they basically, it's homeschool kids from all around the area that come together. We would do I would go there every Tuesday for PE,
Okay.
where we would do different sessions. So we would play football for a segment, and then we would do baseball, and we would just play different games and whatnot. And then when you got old enough, you could play on the organized teams, and it was pretty fun. Fourth grade, my first time playing organized team, we got to go to Springfield, Missouri for a basketball tournament and whatnot. And it was really fun because all of the teams were in the same tournament. It was a big homeschool thing. So there was the varsity guys who we all idolized because they were just super cool. They could dunk and all that cool stuff. And all throughout the fourth graders, and we all stayed at the same hotel, and we all got to kind of just hang out at the pools and whatnot. So it was really fun, a good experience and whatnot. So.
It seems like sports has been a big part of your life since you were a little kid, and that's something that you've always enjoyed. Where do you think that came from? Who were some of your big influences early on that got you into sports that much?
Honestly, the funny thing is nobody in my family really plays sports.
Hmm.
My dad played baseball when he was a kid. Other than that, that's about the extent of it. My grandpa was big into sports. He like I think he ran track, played baseball, a few other things. And my uncle, my mom's side of the family, had some sports and whatnot. But really, I don't know like people around me who really influenced me in that terms. I grew up, I love to play, I love to compete. That's just part of my personality. And I think I was naturally, God gave me some gifts. I'm pretty fast naturally and whatnot, some things that just made me able to be good at sports. And after playing them, I liked them. But now that I think of it, though, one person who would be a good influence was my next door neighbor.
Okay.
It's kind of fun, even if you're going to call him an influence, because he's the same age as me. But he went to public school and whatnot. He loved baseball, played basketball and soccer a little bit, but he really liked baseball. So growing up, he was my best friend because I was homeschooled, so I didn't have a ton of people around me. So we would hang out every day pretty much. Whenever he came, he would get back from school, he'd do his homework, and then we'd hang out the rest of the night. And we would play baseball, soccer, basketball, just the two of us, because it was a fun thing that we could do together. Instead of playing board games or whatnot or video games, we would play sports, whatever it was. So I think that's probably a big part of it, actually, now that I think about it.
Excellent. And I think one of the things that helped you stand out a lot in high school, and I think you're talking about how this started early on, is your competitiveness and your drive and your work ethic. That was something that would always stand out. Where I think a lot of times you can have a gym full of people, and there's a lot of talented basketball players, let's say. So you have to find a way to set yourself apart. How when did you start to realize that this is a way you could set yourself apart by with your work ethic and your drive?
Well, for everyone who knows me, they know that I'm a pretty small dude. I'm like 5'8". There's not a lot of advantages you get in sports by being 5'8", except for sometimes you're quicker. You can kind of sneak your way into areas that most people can't. So for me, I mean, even when I was little too, I was pretty scrawny. I mean, I didn't really put on any muscle weight until I got to college. I had a little bit by my upperclassmen years in high school, but even then I was still scrawny. I put on like 20 pounds of muscle when I got to college. Um, so I think for me, it was just, I kind of realized, well, I'm pretty much disadvantaged in every way, except for I'm a little bit quicker than these guys. And I found that, like when you're faster than somebody, you can get the upper hand on them. So, I kind of just tried to apply that same tactic, I guess, to all things. Okay, so if I may not be stronger, if I can just be a little bit quicker and just be a little bit more determined than they are, I can get to it. I can chip away. I can just kind of do whatever I need to do to be able to, level the playing field a little bit. And I guess just over time, that mentality just kept up. I also love to win, hate to lose.
Uh-huh.
So I think that part of it was just like, all right, this is what I have to do. I kind of realized I was gonna have to kind of be that type of gritty athlete if I was gonna be able to keep up with everybody else. So that's just kind of how it developed.
And I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I've thought about this a lot going into, Indian Creek, our past season this year. And,
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's important is that the older players influence the younger players. And do you think, your work ethic and uh, your desire to want to be in the gym all the time and competitiveness, a lot of times I think that helped pave the way for the season we had this year, because you would have a young Cooper Larson, a young Cam Russell, young Drew Gaston watching you doing what you were doing. Do you ever think about that, like how maybe indirectly you had an impact on this 35-1 season this past year?
I mean, honestly, no, not really. I haven't thought, I wouldn't take any credit for that in any ways because each and every one of them, I've seen them, working hard all the time. I mean, like Cam lives down the street from my parents' place, and I drive by there now still, and I see him out in the driveway shooting around, doing drills and stuff the same way I did when I was, his age and whatnot. So like each and every one of them, they have that same grit, that same work ethic. They want to be great, and they're willing to put the work in. And if it influence them, intention, but that was a possibility. That's each and every one of them. They work so hard day in and day out. Just continue to just keep the trend up because that's the big thing. I mean, just because a few people work hard doesn't mean that anything's really going to change. But they all work hard all the time. They're hitting me up to come to open gyms still that they're throwing all the time, and I love going in there and playing with them because those guys play super hard.
They do.
They're great people. They're great kids. They're going to be great young men, and their program's going to be great next year too and whatnot, especially with those two around. So.
How do you think the work ethic that you got from sports and the desire and all that, how has that helped you outside of sports, whether it be academics, just in life in general? How has that structure and that discipline helped you?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I hate to lose, love to win. So I mean, when I get in the classroom, I always kind of just like would push myself to be do the best that you absolutely can. So like scraping by and maybe sometimes not doing homework and whatnot. Like even though sometimes I would want to do that because
Mhm.
maybe that was the cool thing to do. I don't know why, but I just like couldn't really get myself to do it. It like eats away at me. So like I always have to kind of do my homework, kind of study and whatnot. Otherwise, it kind of eats away at me because I feel like I'd then be, keeping myself from being the better version of myself that I can be and whatnot. So definitely the same way in sports, just striving to be the best athlete that I can be. Also, obviously sports isn't the only gift in my life. I was able to, my mom being homeschooled, my mom was great because I got a lot of one-on-one focus when I was younger. So I was in a good spot educationally. I could read at a good level and whatnot, and that was all credit to my mom for doing a good job with me. But it's the same way, like just trying to be the very best version of yourself that you can be, and that just in all aspects of life. So not settling for less in the classroom and whatnot, even though that may not be the most fun thing, just kind of sucking it up because, in the long term, it'll pay off by putting in that little extra work and whatnot. So.
What are some of your fondest memories of a player as in Indian? You were a 3-sport athlete, and we could probably go into all the sports, and this would turn into an hour Zoom interview. But let's because this is Indian Creek basketball, let's stick with basketball. What are some of your fondest memories on the Indian Creek basketball team?
For sure. I'm going to hop on. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we're going to do this on my computer, but so we'll go with this. But
There we go.
Fondest memories just for basketball, you're saying?
Yes.
One of them definitely was winning the Westminster Christian tournament my junior year. That was a lot of fun, just a lot of energy. That whole tournament was a lot of fun. The seniors that year were just people of their own. There's funny guys and whatnot. That was just a really fun team to be a part of, and to get a win like that, win a championship with the fans there and whatnot, is super fun. Probably my most favorite game from my high school career was my senior year Little 10 Conference Tournament Championship against Newark. Even though we didn't end up coming out on top, I've never played in an atmosphere as just supportive and competitive and just as wild as that was. It was crazy because we're sitting there, we've got the Indian Creek fans, you got the Newark fans, and then you got these other Little 10 fans, but they're all cheering for us, which is really cool just because we were big time underdogs and whatnot. So that was just a really cool thing to be a part of, and just battling with the guys. The game was back and forth, big shots here and there. It was just super fun to be a part of. And
it's funny you bring that one up because I think you had one of the most clutch multiple shots that I ever remember. And what I'd like to do, and I'll start by letting everybody know what it was. It was in the first overtime. There was about 10 seconds to go in the game. Trevor gets fouled. We're down by 4 points. Trevor gets fouled with about 10 seconds to go in the game. So he's going to shoot 2 free throws. Well, also the other team, a player got a technical foul as well. So now he's going to be shooting 4 free throws. We're down 4 with 10 seconds to go in the game. And so what we'll do right now is I will pull that up for you. And I'd like to just hear your kind of walk me through this and tell me what you're thinking as this is going on here.
All right.
This is your first free throw right here. So what are you thinking as you're going to the line and you've got 4 free throws to go to tie this game?
Well, if you could go back a little bit farther even,
yes,
you can see as I walk up to the line, because the moment it happened in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, there's all these people here. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But walking up to the line, and I'm sure you remember this too.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
I looked over at you and you looked at me and you just smiled and just pointed at me and gave me a head nod.
Yeah.
Just pretty much. And when you did that, I was just like, you know what? Like, he's absolutely right. Because I knew what you were thinking. The same thing that kind of started going through my mind was like, I've spent so many hours after practice just shooting free throws and before practice shooting free throws and free throws. Like I shot a ton of free throws in high school and whatnot. And kind of just, it relaxed me a lot when that happened. Because it was kind of like, you know what, this is just a great opportunity. And that's one piece of advice that you've always given me is you're going to get opportunities in life, and when they come, just make the most of them, do the best you can, and whatever happens happens. So yeah, stepping up to line for that first one,
Yeah.
you can go
Yeah,
ahead and roll it if you want.
it's right here. If you look right here, the referee asks me who's going to shoot the technicals, and I said, and I know exactly what I said. There is not a single person in this gym I'd rather have at the line right now than him. And then you can see kind of looking, and you give a nod
Yeah,
right there, saying, "I got
yeah,
this. I got
that
this."
was it.
So
That happened. I started to feel a lot more relaxed. Granted, even though I was a lot more relaxed, I was still like shaking, and I was just sitting there. I was like, all right, I just need, if I hit this first one, I'm gonna be good.
yep.
That was kind of what was going through my mind initially was if I can get knocked down the first one, it's gonna be no problem. And I hit the first one,
Second
felt
one.
good. I was like, all right, cool. Sat down. I was like, all right, just one at a time now. Trying not to think about hitting all four, but just one at a time. And then was able to see the second one go in, and I was like, all right, just keep doing my thing. And I just tried not to think about the fact that maybe the game was on the line a little bit, but just shooting the free throws, and they were able to keep falling, luckily. And yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I think that was a great moment because especially you're by yourself on that line. The game is on the line. You have to make those. So
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that one up because I had that one queued up ready to go.
yeah,
So what,
definitely.
after you finished up at IC and you
Hmm.
went to Trinity and you've already graduated from there, tell me kind
Hmm.
of how that experience was and what you're going on next to do.
Yeah, definitely. So I spent 3 years at Trinity. I did a 3-year program for pre-physical therapy, exercise science degree. So because it was 3 years, I took an extra class here and there during the semesters. Then I took some summer courses. Just it was cheaper that way. I felt that I was capable of doing it. So I figured, you know what? Why not try it out? Why not just go for it? If it gets to be too busy for me, I can, slow it down, do the full 4 years. But I just decided, why not try this? So I did that. And then I was playing college ball there too. So that was definitely very, very busy, taking like 16 credits a semester, and then playing college basketball too was a lot. But I had a really great time. I made some really good friends there. Some guys that were all in my wedding, and whatnot. Just
And you recently
still
just had your 1 year anniversary, correct? And yours is easy to remember for me because it's the same
Blake's birthday.
day as
Yep.
his birthday. So congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I had a good time there. We made it to the national tournament one year, which was just super fun. That's a great accomplishment that a lot of people don't get to experience. So that was really fun. And then my last basketball game that I played there was by far probably the most memorable game that I've ever played in. It was a 5 overtime game that we ended up winning, broke the NAIA record for like the longest game. Pretty sure me and like the 4 other starters all played like at least 50 minutes or something like that for the whole game. One of our guys played the entire game. Like, just it was just an insane game, super fun to be a part of, and to just kind of end my basketball career on a really good note. But yeah, I had an interesting experience overall. College basketball, I played for a different coach each year, which was kind of hard, honestly, because you have to prove yourself each year. You've got to make these different adjustments. But unfortunately, or fortunately for my coach, my freshman year, he got a great offer, great opportunity, because he was such a good coach that, for his family and whatnot, it was too good to pass up, and I don't blame him for taking it. And then, I was just kind of rolled through for the next few years and had a couple new guys. But um, I'm not too upset about it though. Like, obviously my college basketball experience was different from most people's, but I still enjoyed it. I'm still very glad that I did it. I learned a lot from it, and had a great time with it. So yeah, that was Trinity. And then now next year, well, actually not next year, but in a little less than a month, I'll be starting my doctorate in physical therapy at Northern Illinois University. We'll be doing online classes beginning in June. Would have been in person,
Mhm.
but due to the coronavirus and whatnot, we're still going to be online. So be starting there this June, taking 3 classes, and then I'll be there for the next 2.5 years, 3 years, and then eventually once I finish up there, I'll have my doctorate and I'll be ready to be a physical therapist. So it's kind of where I'm at now. But yeah.
Outstanding. Sounds like a great plan. Seems like you have great things going on. So, we look forward to seeing what the future holds for you. We appreciate, I appreciate you coming on here today and talking
Definitely.
with us.
Hey,
So,
it kind of feels like I'm out of the house, even though I'm
right?
not, which I
I
know is
know.
down now, so it's good.
With no basketball, I was trying to think of a different way to stay connected with basketball. I thought, this is
For
this
sure.
is a good way. So,
Yeah, definitely.
I think a lot of the current players, and even players that are middle school can learn a lot from some of the older players and some of the experiences that they have.
Definitely.
So I appreciate you coming on. You've done great things for Indian Creek. You're representing Indian Creek proudly, no matter where you're at. So
Hmm.
we
Appreciate it.
appreciate that, and we appreciate the support you keep giving us. And I appreciate having on here, Trevor.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks. That was Trevor Guerra, 2017 graduate. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we will have episode 3 next week with another new alum. So thank you for watching, everybody.